it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kinda patient, cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. And grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. It's Friday. You know what? Let me give you a little light on the subject here. I don't know if, yeah, that does look a little bit better. I haven't really tested that yet. But welcome. It is Friday. And man, we're just getting a big vector candle on Cardano to the upside. Man, I'm in what could amount to be a absolute monster trade if it plays out. It's going to take me a little while longer. And I'll tell everybody I've been documenting this trade on cryptocrow.io. If you're not there, maybe you want to be. You know what? I'm going to pull that up because I wanted to share some stuff there. Do I already have it open? Yeah, I already do have it open. All right. So we're going to cover some price action a little bit. We're going to cover what I think is happening with Cardano, a little bit of a sentiment to send you away for the weekend. Because, you know, I know that I'm not doing daily videos, and I haven't been doing daily videos for a while. And I know I get all your messages like, when are you doing another one? When are you doing another one? And I really appreciate it. But I've honestly spent more time just, you know how they say that the people that are generally the people that don't know as much are the ones, you know, like always talking, right? And then those who do are generally quiet. That's because the people that are in the know are quietly paying attention. And I feel like that's what I'm doing more now than ever, because there are so many differences to this market than before, that I am focused a lot more on just paying attention than I am talking. I mean, because I have multiple systems. I have a lot of stuff happening all the time. You know, at night, I'm watching videos. During the day, I'm trading. I'm learning more about trading. I'm reading through everything on X. I'm absorbing and I'm learning. Always in a state of learning. And so I'm just not generally talking as much because I feel like everything is in such a state where I don't want to give the wrong info, right? I don't want to like share a sentiment or share something that I think and then it end up being completely wrong. But what I do think is I'm going to be getting into some Cardano price predictions here today. And I'm not doing them, you know, it's not going to be some big verbose plan, but it's what I think is happening. And there are a lot of things happening to back it up. And first thing we're going to do briefly is we're going to go ahead and look at some price charts. This is Cardano on a 15-minute candle. And, you know, basically what generally happens on a Friday is the weekend trap. And I'm not exactly sure what to expect here, but, you know, we did get this significant wick to the downside. And these are vector candles, which means they're high volume market maker candles. And you know, we got this blood diamond. This is when I use Market Cipher, and I've been using it more and more lately. And this is Crypto Faces indicator. I mean, I still love it. I've touched it and used it sporadically, depending on what I'm doing and what I'm trying to get established. But we got these blood diamonds here, and you can tell when we get a red X for what supposedly amounts to manipulation. But then with the blood diamond at the same time, those are pretty accurate and we get those drops down. Now, I noticed that when we got this here this morning, this is at 10 a.m. after the market opened at 9:30. You can see here at 9:30, we got, you know, we were basically burning the candle at both ends, right? And this is basically a big indecision. Like, where do we go from here? Ha ha ha. Don't you want to know? It's like the market makers are playing games with people. And then we got this push, right? We got this big push down. And generally during the market open, the first hour or so of market open, the initial push is to trap traders before a reversal. And, I used to trade that morning market open every morning, and I always did pretty well. But it's been getting a little weird lately. A lot of the price action lately has been a little weird, basically going against the grain, going against the narrative, going against everything. Everything that you think is going to happen, the opposite has been happening. And the majority of it has been in favor of bull market sentiment and just, like where we're at in the market cycle, October, all of that. Crowvember. Do you see what I did there? Crowvember. I like that. So anyway, I really do like that, especially considering my birthday is November. So I'm going to start calling it Crowvember, and hopefully Crowvember is a big month for Cardano. We're going to get into that. But anyway, down here, you see this wick where this is trap traders. And then you see we got a heavy reversal to the upside. And then we got to the 50% Asia line, which is generally really, really, it's a big deal. If we broke above that and through it, then it's very likely we're going to go up substantially over the weekend, even though the market makers aren't in play during the weekends until like Sunday, right? But we got a big wick. So now we just have basically, this is basically the market expanding throughout Friday. Where we end up, I guess it's just going to depend on where the liquidity flows over the next several hours as we get into the end of Friday. Typically, the last 2 hours of Friday are the most volatile because that's where basically the trap traders end up. And so we'll see where we end up. But ultimately, there are going to be trap traders somewhere, whether it's going to be at a peak of this 86 cents or at 84, almost 85 cents. And so we're going to see where we end up by the end of the day. I'm probably not going to be live when this concludes, but just know that one of these segments of traders are likely going to be trapped. And if I'm looking at the price action where it's at now, I'm going to assume that the trap traders are going to be down here around 85 cents, and the price is likely going to range through this area throughout the weekend. Now, there's a lot happening. And I've covered some of this stuff in the past. Cardano accelerates real world tokenization with Landmark's London Stock Exchange collaboration. That was a big deal. Now, Cardano price forecast, ADA steadies amid midnight and Google Cloud Union. Now, I haven't deep dived into this yet. This is just an article covering what's happening. But I think that this is a pretty key thing in being able to start establishing a pattern for Cardano against what everyone else is doing in blockchain. And I want everyone to pay very close attention to this, because this is the kind of shit that this is all preliminary to me, right? So like a lot of people want to push this. It's like, oh my God, look at this. This is going to change the world. It could. Okay. But I want to be very real about it. But anyway, we're going to dive into it, and I'm going to give you my sentiment. So Midnight Network announced a collaboration with Google Cloud to boost privacy first and zero knowledge digital systems. On-chain data shows a spike in the percentage of total supply and profit as investors slow down harvesting gains. Basically, this is basically saying that, like I saw there were like 60 million ADA sold or bought up over this week. People are getting back in, and there's obviously an ebb and flow to the markets, right? And whales move large sums pretty easily, especially in Cardano and Bitcoin and Ethereum for that matter. But basically what it boils down to is people are less likely to take profits right now because they expect the price to go much higher. And it seems like the sentiment is really starting to solidify in this whole October business and Crowvember and then into December. Now, before I dive deeper into this, I've done videos in the past where I have basically broken down why I think that December could be the peak for Bitcoin, if we were to stay in line with or rhyme with the 4-year cycle. It's obvious that the cycle's changing a bit. It's being a little bit elongated. And I still believe that the 2021 peak was the end of it. I mean, I still, until it's disproven, I still think that, we're just going to say we could go either way, but ultimately I believe that the 2021 peak continues on. I think from here we go on for a decade. I don't really think this bull market starts to really slow down until 2030. That's what I think. And it puts me in a really difficult situation because I'm all in ADA, man. Like I'm all in ADA, Bitcoin, and I don't know when to get out. I don't really know when to exit. I know what I need to achieve to get back to the life that I used to live and like, you know, basically feel secure and comfortable as a family and with our goals. I want to open a tabletop gaming store. Laugh if you want, but that is like my other passion. And I since moving to Florida, I haven't been able to engage in that at all. Like my favorite game, Wanchain, that used to be from Privateer Press. Another group bought it. Not that you guys care, but to me, that's one of the best tabletop games out there. And I have hundreds of models and I miss painting them and I miss having that hobby. I haven't been able to do that. I have Warhammer 40K stuff. I've never even played the game. I just paint them. I've got Death Guard models. I've got Adeptus Mechanicus or whatever, some other faction. I just thought they looked cool, so I bought some. But I've never even played it. And that's all anybody plays in Florida. Nobody plays Wanchain. And I want to change that. And I want to open a game store somewhere, wherever we have our forever home. That's the plan. And we are planning for our forever home. The point is, I don't know what's happening yet. And I get a lot of messages from people explaining what they think. I have a gentleman who I've kind of like passed, I'm not really ignored, but apparently he works for, we'll just say a major military company. Excuse me. I don't know if you'd want me to say which one, even though I'm not naming him. But he's been sending me these price prediction for Cardano for a while now. And when he sends them to me, he's like, you know, he's explaining what's going to happen 3 months from now to the day, 6 months from now to the day. And thank you, Gareth. And so, and you know, I used to kind of I get a lot of that stuff from people, right? Because a lot of people send me these messages and they want me to confirm it or like, you know, make them feel better. And I just don't have time to do that. I get so many. I've got people who love to act like they're the gurus of all when the market's up, and then when it's down, they blow me up. Like, what's happening? I mean, it's like across the board, and I get so much of it. But anyway, he sent me a recent prediction of what he thinks is going to happen. And I've learned that when he says something, pretty good likelihood that it might be coming true. And he's kind of broken down his system, and it's very much a macro system. It's not like a technical analysis type of thing. And I'm going to share what he had told me recently, only because it lines up really well with what I was just telling my wife a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and a month ago that I thought was going to happen this month, next month in December. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. But the thing is I wanted to kind of preface a lot of this with basically saying a lot of this stuff is still in its infancy and it's still basically in test phases. Midnight Network secures Google Cloud partnership. Midnight announced its partnership with Google Cloud on Tuesday to accelerate its digital infrastructure. Apart from the network infrastructure, Google Cloud will provide confidential computing and mandiant threat monitoring services and extend support to developers with $200,000 in credit via the Google for Startups Web3 program. This is huge. And here's the thing. I've been having discussions with someone at IOHK where I didn't realize, I mean, we've been kind of going back and forth for a month, and it's been a lot of just kind of Q&A, right? A lot of just, you know, what do you think about this? And what would you do here? And I didn't realize I was basically being interviewed for a month. And there's nothing to really say yet, but I will say that there's a chance that I may be in a position to establish a division, a group, maybe specifically focused on helping developers build applications for Cardano, potentially Midnight. Even though Midnight hasn't really been part of the conversation, it's been primarily Cardano, but as well as establishing marketing plans around them. And because there are a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I've been saying for a while that Cardano needs as a blockchain to be competitive with a lot of the more centralized blockchains. And these are all the things that I would do. These are all the things I would love to do. I wish this would happen. I wish that would happen. And we're kind of at a conversational point where it's like, well, maybe you should do that. And maybe we will help you do that. But nothing's concrete. And a lot of it's just kind of, going back and forth still in discussion, but it's getting a little bit more serious. And I would love to be able to do something like that. And a lot of that is probably going to end up boiling down to a treasury proposal at some time in the future. And so when I see stuff like this with Midnight, and I've been reading so many things, and generally, I go live every day, or I do a video at least, where I'm sharing all of the sentiment and a lot of the information from these. But I've been really at a point where I've been paying more attention to where everything is going. Here's something that I want to explain real quick before I get into any other like price predictions or anything. Well, let's go ahead and touch on this. On-chain data signals a decline in selling pressure. It's just less people are selling their ADA right now. They know that we're getting to a point where it's likely going to go up before it goes down. And if it goes down, it's probably a short-term correction before another leg up. And we're going to touch back on price a little, here and there through this video. I really think we end up ranging through this area throughout the weekend. We've got trap traders to the upside, to the downside. We probably range around here through the weekend until we get into Sunday. Now, that is all from sentiment or sentiment, which I need to go back and start using them. But Cardano holds near the 100-day EMA at 80 cents following a doji candle formation on Tuesday. So this is obviously before we got our big pump into like the 86, 87 cent range. Finally put my trade at profit. I was down like 20 grand in my trade, and now I'm at profit again. And it's just been kind of dancing around in that area. And I'm in a 4X trade with added margin. Okay. So like I've really tried to reduce my liquidity point to a level that if the price goes down, I don't have to necessarily start sweating or load up the coffers to try and add more margin to buy the price down. The momentum indicators on the daily chart corroborate the waning selling pressure at the relative strength index. Okay. That's all fine and dandy. Overall, I think we're going to be going up, hopefully. But the market makers love to play with people and really scare the shit out of everyone so that they exit their positions. And I think that fear is starting to wane, and we're going to start seeing more positive price momentum. Now, this is another thing that I want to touch on. Treasury to exempt Bitcoin from 15% CAMT tax on unrealized gains, saving strategy billions. Treasury to exempt Bitcoin from 15% on unrealized gains. Saving strategy billions on $27 billion in paper profits. There's a lot of stuff happening in the taxation. There's a lot of stuff that the Trump administration is doing to kind of facilitate people being able to invest in crypto and not be taxed to death for it. What I find is interesting is Trump is also the one who basically pushed the Bitcoin tax in his first term. Pissed me the hell off. I remember doing videos all about it. And I think at the time, he just didn't understand. I really do. I don't think he understood. I don't think he understood the asset. I don't think he knew much about it. And I think since then, I think he's realized what's happened, right? So real quick, I also want to touch on Wargram. So you can visit wargram.io. This is my Cardano-based trading card game. Now, I'm going to tell everybody this. This is going to be a cross-chain game, just so you guys know. It's very likely we're going to be building this not just for Cardano, but we're probably also going to put it on Base because it just seems to make the most sense. And potentially some other chains in the future, but we'll see. You can mint boosters now. I think we've done about $4,000 in sales so far. It's still sitting there. We're still trying to figure out what would be better off doing with it. Do we want to continue adding the other cards in the set? because there's like 240 cards, I think, in the first set. I think only I think maybe 60 or maybe 100 of them are in the, actually they're complete. It's not even, I think it's just the starter sets that we have in the game right now. I don't think we've touched on the 240 cards that have already been done for the first set. So we're trying to figure out, do we start doing that? But the booster pack sales are kind of like, okay, not crazy. And we really do need to get that up so that we can employ the developers to add all the cards in the set. So it's a choice. Do we do that? Or do we basically set this up for base as well and kind of improve our user base a bit to then start really getting a revenue stream to help build and further development of the game? So, and there are other things that I'm doing as well to kind of help facilitate the development of this. I can't say what they are yet, but I'm working out some arrangements. Now, also, visit cryptocrow.io. I've got a lot of stuff on here that I need to get even more busy. I've been doing a lot of different things on here. This is kind of my website where I just let loose. I speak my mind. I don't care about, I own the platform, so I'm not on any politically leaning platform where I have to watch my P's and Q's and censor myself and all of that. I own this. I'm running this. And it's an open source kind of platform in a way, but I also bought a license to it so that I don't have to deal with all of the bullshit. And so, what I do, and like this here, how did I fall hook, line, and sinker into the MAGA movement? I didn't know I did. This is basically a long response to somebody on Facebook who's actually a friend of mine, somebody I know personally. He's a good dude, but he's very much on the left. And he basically listed all of these, assumptions basically about a lot of things. And rather than sit there and try and address them on Facebook, I just turned it all into a big, well-organized article. And I answered all of his questions, and then I sent it to him. And some of these are free. You don't have to be a member. Some of the stuff that I put out that's more general public type stuff that I think anybody maybe would enjoy reading it. They're free. So not everything on here is in a paid tier, just so you know. You can sign up as a free member, and then you'll get access to all of the free stuff. And then at some point, if you're like, you know what, I really like what you're doing here, I'm going to sign up for this $5 tier or the $15 all-encompassing tier. It helps me. And, the more I get and the more feedback I get on the content I put out, the more I can do that to help everybody and to help, just kind of, there's stuff on here to help mortgage loan officers, and it's a very specific tier. There's, my trading updates, like major updates to things I'm doing in my trading journey. There's just a lot of stuff. Macro crypto, there's all kinds of stuff. So check that out. And then lastly, I'll let you guys know, we may very well have a substantial investor for Moonrunner. Somebody that basically really likes what we're doing here. Apparently he's checked out my channel and he likes me based off of my content and just my knowledge, my experience in the space since 2017. And he's like, you know what? I really want to be a part of this. And there are other reasons for it, but ultimately there may very well be a lot of stuff happening with Moonrunner. And right now you can download the Mac demo. I think the Mac demo works pretty decently. I've run it. It works pretty decently. The PC demo has some issues, and we're kind of holding off a bit to figure out exactly what this other relationship is going to be like. And then there may be high six figures going into building Moonrunner the way I really want it built. So just to let you guys know that might be coming. All right, now let's get to some other stuff here. Before I get too deep, I'm going to cover some Wanchain stuff as well, just so that you guys know, because they've been an absolute asset in the space. And I'm like, they sponsored a video before, one of the first companies to sponsor my channel in a while. A lot of that has died out. And not just for me, but I think for everybody. The market has been so weird and wonky. I don't think that there's been an abundance of paid segments because people just aren't seeing the potential of return, right? we're not in this altcoin euphoria season where, you know, you're launching an asset or launching an app or launching a product and the world comes knocking, like, because you've done some paid segments and then you're getting an instant return on your investment, both in developing the app or whatever it is. And then, you know, your paid sponsorships to different influencers and so forth. So hopefully that picks up, but I don't really know. Now, here's the thing. Cardano price prediction. If I feel like my cats are like going crazy out there. I don't know. My wife is she's competing again this weekend. I really hope she wins. My wife is such a phenomenal dancer, and she's been, holy shit. I'm going to share this. We're getting a big green candle here, folks. We're back up to 86. We've just crossed over the 50% Asia line. I think in the short term, I think that, I mean, the high of the day is at 87 cents. I think that's all nothing. High of the week, we haven't touched yet. High of the week is at 88 cents. I definitely think that it's likely we're going to come up here somewhere around the 87 cent range. We may like bounce off of this as some resistance and get a little bit of a correction. Excuse me. Back down somewhere in the 86 range and then break back above it. And once we've chewed up all of the liquid here, I really think that we're going to start working our way into like 88 cents. Once we break through this high of the week, we break through 88 cents, we're going to probably come back, retest, and then we head to $1. And I honestly think that there's a good chance that not only do we break $1 this month, but I really think that we break $2 by the end of this month here in October. I think we break all-time highs in Crowvember. And yes, I'm going to stick with that. So I actually like it. Crowvember, damn it, Cardano breaks its all-time high. That's what I think is happening. And December, I think is there a good chance that maybe in December we break $5. Now, the other side to this is this is also going to depend on, I'm going to get a little comfortable here as I talk to you folks here for a few minutes. As a matter of fact, I'm done sharing. I've got some Wanchain stuff to cover, so I'll leave that open while I'm waiting for it. Because there's a lot of cool stuff I want to cover on Wanchain. And it's not because they're of a sponsorship today. I just like what they're doing, and I'm going to share it. Break $2 an all-time high in November. Okay, let's go. What's up, Warren? This is the thing that I see across the board with a lot of people in Cardano. Number one, I'm not hounding, but I've been reaching out to Rashad Evans lately because I know he just finished a big trip, and I'm like, come on, man, let's go live, let's talk crypto. And I want to be able to have a conversation with him and educate him and anybody like around him or that likes him or follows him to try and educate them on what's happening in the crypto space, kind of using Rashad as a conduit, right? And he's a good dude, and he's got some of his own stuff that I'd love to talk to him about. I think he has like a mushroom business, and he's very much all about like health and wellness and, spiritually, mentally, and all that stuff. He kind of sounds like my wife, right? Because it's a lot of what she's into. But and we'll see if I can make that happen. I don't know. I don't want to bug the hell out of him. I mean, I actually happen to talk to a lot of people I would consider celebrities, and I'm not a clout chaser really. So I don't, I'm not, I know this guy. And if there isn't a real reason to have them on, I'm not going to bug them about it. And everybody knows they're safe with me. Like anything we talk about is private. Like I'm not, this person told me this the other day. Look at me. I'm all like, I don't play that shit with people. But I have been a long-time fan of Rashad. I've loved following his career. I've met him in person in the past, and he was just super humble, super cool. So he's somebody I'd really like to have on and kind of share that with everybody, if possible. But we'll see. If he doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to hound him about it. But there's so much to be said about Cardano, and I know he's getting into Cardano. I know he's already got a bag, and he's had one now for I don't know. I think we got him situated. It might have been a month or maybe two, and. When you're new and you're looking at social media and a lot of the shit you see a lot of the trolls on social media. Oh, Cardano doesn't have this. Cardano has no users. Cardano, like it's always the same bullshit, right? What used to be Cardano's a ghost chain, Cardano's a this, it's a that. A lot of that has gone out the window now because it's so beyond disproven that even the bots have been reprogrammed, right? Like, oh, we got to come up with some other shit. Here's the thing. Cardano was not designed to be your meme coin gimmick shit show farm, okay? And I can't stress that enough. Cardano has been designed from the ground up for international enterprise throughput. I don't know any other way of saying it. It has been designed to be used for legitimate, enterprise, B2B, B2C, government. This has been designed for security first and foremost, uptime, obviously, basically all of the things it excels at above and beyond anyone else, but with interoperability in mind, right? And like with a focus on interoperability. Ultimately, Cardano wants to be the backbone to all Web3 and blockchain transactions across the globe in a decentralized system that is not controlled by any singular individual or group and is only expanded upon by the groups. And, when you try to compare Cardano with other chains, you can't. There is no comparison. And, a lot of people see, well, I look at this chain and I see their use. I see a lot of wash trading. Like I see a lot of trade volume, but really it's just wash trading meant to like fool you into thinking there's more like trade volume than there actually is. There are a lot of underhanded tactics used with some of these other chains to try and make it look superior to Cardano. But when you break it down into the real data, the majority, these chains are far worse off than some of the even lesser known, lesser excitable chains out there that are just relying on their real actual transactional throughput, their real volume, because everything across the board has been down unless it's been wildly manipulated. That's just how it is. Like, and like, I'm not even here to point fingers or name names, but we all know what they are. And some people, I feel like it's the same as like a lot of the political narrative today. It doesn't matter if it's true as long as it feels good. And that's the world we're in right now, where facts, details, logic, a lot of that shit goes right out the window. As long as there is a sentiment that's been well established in the eyes of enough people to matter, right? And that's really what it seems to boil down to. And I see a lot of this kind of thought process and narrative, this hive mind in a way, where people are willing to ignore dishonesty, shadiness, corruption. They're willing to ignore a lot of that stuff in favor of getting what they want, whatever that may be, whether it's number go up, whether it's a policy change that makes them feel good, like whatever the case is. And unfortunately, that never really lasts a long time. Like that never really lasts forever. And, Charles has been on here in the past and we've talked about like this tortoise and the hare kind of race. Charles is very well aware. IOHK is very well aware. All of these folks are very well aware of the idea that they are the tortoise in the race. But what happens is that some of these chains that we would consider the hare, they're going to burn out. At some point, they will burn out. Now, they may transition into a different asset or transition their narrative to something else. I see some of that already happening. That's fine. Maybe and hopefully it's to better technology. But like I've seen some transition from one chain, like one centralized chain to another more centralized chain. And then that and all of this marketing and everything started going towards pushing that. And then that chain like crashed, right? And I'm thinking to myself, that's going to suck for a lot of people. It's basically like the same thing with a slightly different narrative. And it's just a rinse and repeat of the same machine, if you will, right? And it's all venture funded. It's all why break what like how much money is being made with the other chain. Anyway, I know I'm talking in code. You guys get what I'm talking about. The overall point that I'm trying to make is Cardano has been built to do exactly what it's starting to do. And then once you add midnight to the equation of all of this and add a secure privacy layer that's basically running on Cardano, but with the benefits of, you know, your privacy, your zero knowledge proofs. Do you guys have any idea what I mean, I've done Google or I've done Grok. I've talked to Grok at length about various use cases associated with like how zero knowledge proofs can be utilized in the world. Folks, it's endless. It is truly endless. And there are like trillions of dollars worth of business that are flowing through systems that would absolutely benefit from conducting their business in applications using Midnight and or Cardano. And that's what it's designed for. And I know that when the world seems to be all about NFTs, pet rocks, like here's this $2 million picture of a vector cartoon of a rock, and it's like, listen, that a lot of those vehicles are meant for like money laundering and shit. And I'm sorry to say, but it's just true. Nobody spends $2 million on a JPEG of a rock just because it's sitting on a blockchain, unless there's a different reason for it. Okay. And there are laws associated with using art to, play with your money. Okay. To play with your taxes, to play with, that's why a lot of that stuff happened the way it did. It wasn't because it's like this new movement and like art is now blockchain. And the only artist I think that actually like legitimizes NFTs is, oh my gosh, Banksy. That dude is, that dude and what he's done with NFTs and his art is amazing. I wish we had more people like him, honestly, because I love that. I would love to get some of those kinds of pieces where, like, I own the one and it's locked away in a safe deposit box somewhere, but I've got like a big printed version on my wall. I would love to do that. I can't afford it, right? I don't have that. But the overall point that I'm trying to make is we have to be patient. And I think that what happens with Cardano and in Midnight between now and 2030 is going to be absolutely mind-bending. And I do believe that there's going to be a day when the veil is pulled back and everybody realizes all of the use cases that Cardano and Midnight are being utilized for. And everyone's going to realize how much we were in the infancy of blockchain when we were focused solely on meme coin trash, NFTs, even the ICO boom, right? Like that was like the internet. That was like the .com bubble back in I forget what year that was, but the .com bubble was a big deal. And, and then that popped. The beauty of blockchain is because it's an entire new world. It's like an entire new paradigm of existence, right? And it's moving fast, and it's been moving pretty much in 4-year bursts, really 2-year bursts with like a 2-year decline, right? So it's like, here's the concept, here's the gimmick. This is going to drive the market. Everybody apes in, and then a bunch of people make money, a bunch of people lose money. We rinse and repeat into the next gimmick. Cardano has not been playing a significant role in a lot of those gimmicks, burning out its users the way a lot of these other chains are. Yes, a lot of these other chains have been making short-term cash, but they're going to burn out like stars. And Cardano is going to be there to pick up the pieces, pick up the people, continue growing organically into this world that it's being built specifically to facilitate. And that people, I don't think many understand still. They don't understand the technology behind Cardano and why it's different, why it's built the way it is, why it just everything about it is dramatically different in the way we rate and we rate like transactions per second, how that's so different, right? There's a reason why a lot of the people that are talking against Cardano use transactions per second as a metric to try and make Cardano look inferior, knowing full well that one transaction can have like 400 data points in it compared to a one-to-one on other more centralized chains. There's a reason they ignore this stuff intentionally, because they don't want people to catch wind of how different Cardano is and what it's really built for, and why we don't see a lot of the bullshit on Cardano that we see on a lot of these other chains. It wasn't built to be a gimmick. And that's one of the things that attracted me to it in 2017, was that its design and its academic approach is meant for the long haul. This isn't meant to be like, oh, we've had a couple bull market cycles, everybody makes some money, we go home, rinse and repeat into the next big thing. Cardano is the next big thing that's been building from inception in 2017, right in front of and under our eyes this entire time. It has been as transparent and open about every stage of its development as you could possibly be. Charles is out there speaking for hours and hours all the time on his own channel, on other channels, on this channel, explaining everything. Unfortunately, a lot of these folks are so smart, and their capacity for what they're trying to develop and their plans and the terminology and all of that goes right over the heads of most of us. But we know it sounds good, and we know it feels good, and we understand that there's a big future in this blockchain. And that's really all there is to it. Cardano's consistently maintained itself in the top 10 market cap of all crypto assets pretty much since inception. I do believe that we're going to get to a point where it's in the top 5, and it's likely never going to move. And then at some point between now and 2030, I see it being in the top 2. And I really do believe that. It's just a matter of, getting a lot of, I think we're at a point now with Cardano that enough has been built to facilitate a lot of major real world use cases. And it's time we start seeing those come to fruition and joining the party. And I think, if anything, the relationship with Google and Google Cloud and Midnight, I think that is to me one of the first major signs that Cardano's getting to a point, Midnight is getting to a point where we're going to start seeing not the pet rocks, not the meme coin craze, not a lot of the gimmicky bullshit that we're used to seeing drive adoption in a lot of these chains for all of the newcomers, but we're going to start seeing real significant institutional and enterprise level adoption across the board, because everybody knows one thing about Cardano: it's secure and it doesn't crash. Those are two of the main things that most other chains can't brag about, because it's not true. Right? It's not true for them in the way that it's true for Cardano. And those are narratives a lot of them stay away from and don't ever touch, because they know they don't have a leg to stand on. But when it comes to global enterprise, global institutional grade interest, you might make some quick bucks here that can come and go. But when it comes to stuff you're actually building long term, especially as it relates to things like identity, do you honestly think that anybody in their right mind is going to trust an identity solution with a chain that shuts down on a regular basis, that has more like gobbledygook thrown into it to make it appear a certain way than is actually real? Do you honestly think that any real government entity would trust something like that unless they were completely oblivious to it? So overall, I just want to leave you guys with this. Like, Cardano is coming into its own. And it has been a long time coming, and it has been doing things in its own way. Even its price action moves in its own way. So, oh boy, I want to share this. It's still working its way up, folks. So this is going to be a very interesting weekend, to say the least. I would love to see us break above and test this all-time high. I don't think it's going to happen today. I mean, it's only 11:30. Is it really only 11:30? It is. It's 11:38. Very interesting. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, what I'm hoping, what could honestly happen? We've got these trap traders down here basically saying, you're locked in here. You're not going anywhere for a while. We could potentially come up here, touch this high of the week at around 88 cents in a really nasty wick to the upside, and trap everyone up here, and then end up ranging through here in the weekend. And then Sunday night, we start moving again. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see. But ultimately, folks, the whole point of this video, I really think that we're going to break $2 this month. I really think we will. And I think we break all-time high in Crowember. And we just have to be patient. I think the next 90 days are going to be extremely telling. But I also want to leave you with this. And you know what? Maybe I should address, I've got a little time before I hit an hour. I'm going to go over some of the comments and things. And I do, by the way, I do have a scheduled interview with Charles Hoskinson on October 13th, as soon as he gets back from Mongolia. And I'm very much looking forward to that, because there's a lot that's changed. Even with Cardano Foundation, I've noticed there's a lot that's changed. And I'm looking forward to being able to talk to Charles about that and kind of get his perspective on how things seem to be changing a bit. Because it seems like they're actively, like, midnight's coming. You know what I mean? If you haven't done your midnight airdrop claim yet, you might want to buck up and get that figured out. Apparently, they're still having some issues with the hardware wallets. I'm not quite sure what that is all about. I've seen a lot of people be able to claim. I've seen others not. I don't know if it's a difference in maybe whatever software or firmware or whatever version you're running. I don't use those hardware wallets. I make my own, in the sense that, I use an actual computer that I don't connect anywhere to the internet except for like a transaction, and then I lock that shit away. Because I don't feel comfortable. I never have. I've never felt comfortable basically leaving my assets in the hands of a third party that's like built around crypto. I don't know. It is what it is. So anyway, look, the future definitely looks bright. Oh, you know what I need to do? I want to cover Wanchain, because they've got a lot of stuff going on. And if you're not familiar, safe, fast, responsible, decentralized blockchain interoperability, connected to over 47 different networks. And I've got a bunch of notes here that I would like to cover. And let me see what I can pull up here. I'm going to read some of this because there's just a lot of stuff. You can buy ADA from 10 different chains right now. An absolute game changer for people that want to buy ADA in just one click, in a decentralized way. If you want to try and avoid, the centralized institutions, right? And at some point, I would love to see us on more decentralized. I would love to see more decentralized transactional volume than centralized, because we really do empower these centralized exchanges, whether it's Coinbase, Binance. I mean, we see how they're dumping. They dump. I feel like I have a theory. This hot, I do this, but I have a theory that when like Coinbase and Binance and I think one other, when they were brought into the White House, back in the day, and I really do think that they're like, we got to keep prices suppressed until we're able to achieve X, Y, Z. I really do think that's I think that was a thing. I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating. I'm just, blowing smoke, but I find it interesting that since those meetings happened, that the price has definitely been suppressed and the market has been drug out quite a bit. And people have been tracking it on X, right? They've been tracking the sale, the flow, all of this stuff, especially as it relates to Binance. And I think there's something to it. And, Eric Trump, Donald Trump, they keep saying these things, right? Like they know that we're going to get to a point. I think we're going to get to a point in the market based on like regulation, the Genius Act, the stable coin regulation. I think once all that hits and it's done, not only that, but when we start getting into the more quantitative easing, I know Trump has just been throwing around an idea of putting out $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks to everybody, kind of like they did in COVID. But I think it's his way of saying like, this is your tariff money, all this tariff money, we're going to give it back to you. And, I don't know if that'll help change the opinions of people, but we'll see, right? And so I think there's a lot to it. And, if we did do that, I mean, there's a lot of things that are lining up to start really fueling a substantial a parabolic run. And a lot of that stuff is starting to line up now. Interest rate cuts, all of this stuff is starting to really line up. Over the next 90 days, I think things are going to get really, really crazy. But let's see here. What else do I have? Yeah, so I don't do that. Let's see. I'm going to go through your comments too. I'm gonna cover some of this in a different video, because a lot of the stuff is like, I've got a lot of notes, and I'm like, I want to do another segment, but I don't really do a lot of this. I'm gonna do these things on my channel live. I don't do like financial transactions live on my channel, so it is what it is. But I will say, there's just so much. If you haven't checked out Wanchain, you might want to do that. Discover the power of Wanchain, decentralize. Wanchain to me kind of has a little special place in my heart, only because they've been around forever and they just continue growing and getting better and doing more in the space. And I know that there are options of like being able to earn up like 40% on your ADA. I don't do a lot of those things. I guess I could, but I'm always so scared. I don't do a lot of clickety click, especially on any machines that I'm storing substantial amounts of my assets, which is really none. I mean, I have them locked away. I have my play money and my play wallets in my browser, stuff that I use to trade with or like experiment with, things like that. Nothing substantial, but I don't do a lot of like the clickety click stuff on stream, because I don't know. I'm always afraid like something's going to slip, or there's going to be a number or something that tells a hacker, oh, I can take advantage of that. So I don't know. Stuff like that freaks me out. Not to say that doing things like this, especially Wanchain, has been around forever. It's not to say that stuff isn't safe, but as a streamer, as somebody that does live streams, I don't take those chances. I just don't. To me, that's just stupid. If I had like 500 subscribers and I'm dealing with 50 ADA or something, which I guess I could set it all up fresh and new and like just not care. Maybe I will do that in a specific video. You know what? Look for a video where I cover a lot of this stuff specifically for Wanchain, and maybe its own video, because there's stuff that I want to show you. There's stuff that I think would be very beneficial to you, and probably help you make some extra pocket change. And so I'm going to have to cover that, but I'm not going to do that right now in a live stream. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to cover some of your questions. What happened here? What's happening? There we go. Okay. Where is this? Okay. I've got like 30 windows open by accident. All right, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. Oh, that's kind of annoying. Let me know in the comments. Is that annoying for you? Kind of the way that screen flickers? It's like the refresh rate. And it's kind of annoying. Grok AI is saying Cardano will only hit 250 to 350 range. I hope Grok is wrong. I need $5. Listen, I've done so many different price prediction questions to Grok. They're all different. I have them from $3 to $10. I've had Grok predict as high as $15. Grok basically aggregates a lot of what people post in a time frame and then spits it out to you. I mean, that's really what Grok does. It goes out and it searches the web and it looks for evidence to support X, Y, or Z, whether it's an article, a write-up, and then it lists the citations. I love Grok, but when it comes to anything related to predictions or price sentiment or anything, that's basically what it spits out. And it depends on how you phrase the question and all of that. So, yeah. Oh, we've got a robot that's okay, I see. You have to ignore those people, because a lot of those people are they're just bots. Lynette Alden, you really think Lynn Alden is in my chat like trying to trash Cardano? Come on, guys, you guys know. Trump should put the tariff money towards the ADA reserve. Maybe they are. Right? I mean, that's the thing. You cut the public in, you feed them a grand or two for funsies, just to say, listen, this is what my policies do for you. That I can see it now. He sends out a big stimulus check and he's like, my tariffs. I love the word tariffs. Don't you love the word tariff? Tariff's a beautiful thing. just sent you $2,000. You know, now you can go buy Cardano and like, you know, make some gains. And you know, it's yeah. Oh, it looks like you guys have been arguing with this robot in chat for a while. That's funny. Is it too late to buy Cardano, put it in a wallet, and make a claim for the airdrop? Yes, it's too late for that. The snapshot for the midnight airdrop was months ago. So, yep, it's too late. But it's not too late for you to buy Cardano, stick it in a wallet, and enjoy the ride. I'll say that. Bitcoin to get to new all-time high this week. I definitely think there's a good chance for that. I was looking at the liquidity heat maps earlier, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot sitting at around 124,000. So, you know, what does it happen this week? I don't know. The one thing the market makers love to do is be unpredictable. So if it's, you know, if it's too good to be true and too clear, it's very likely it's going to go the other way and it's going to mess with you first. But I will also say that generally the last 90 days of a bull market cycle are extreme. And so that to me is the question. How extreme do we get over the next like 90 days heading into December? Because if it's absolutely parabolic, you know, Cardano breaks $5 in December, you know, all of that, then that could be the end of it, right? I mean, it really depends on timing, which is why I'm paying more attention now than I am doing talking. I figure if anything, I might start going live every Friday, maybe Mondays, maybe Fridays, or maybe both. But doing like daily content, I'm so busy trying to get my own stuff figured out. And like, I want something that I can really, you know, set on to tell you and share with you guys that I believe is going to be more accurate than not. I'm always right sometimes. We all know this, but I don't want to, you know, yeah. Crow, I was wondering if it is safe to claim the midnight drop off of a ledger now. I claimed my night from ADA wallets, but when I was going to do the ledger, the Java attack was happening. Thanks. I think that whole Java thing was resolved like 48 hours after it happened, probably less. I'm just trying to be safe. If anything, maybe ask Grok, because Grok is going to aggregate all of the information related to it, and then it's going to summarize it for you, right? So I love Grok for that sort of thing. So yeah, you might want to try that. And like, you don't even have to have a paid account to use Grok. I use Grok 4 because I've upgraded to it, but even Grok 3 is going to get you some good information. I heard ADA is working with Near for partnership wrap tokens. Yeah, listen, this is the time when we start seeing news of a lot more partnerships happening. And I think that there's a reason for that. We don't see a lot of that stuff happening in the bear market. Why? Well, because everybody's trying to pay their own bills, right? The assets they're working on is worth less. You know, everybody's waiting for it to get to a certain price point where they effectively have that monetary value, that power to seal up and build new partnerships, which is generally why, you know, when the market really starts turning bullish and the price of assets start going up, everybody has more power and more funds, more capital to establish or work these partnerships. And it becomes more of a self-fulfilling effort where it's like the price goes up, we have more money to do more things, then we can announce those things, which makes the price go up. And that's how we end up in this parabolic state, right? And I expect to start seeing a lot of that with Cardano over the next 90 days. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. And, you know, and not just with Cardano, with a lot of other assets too. It's just kind of the nature of a bull market and where we are in the market cycle. I have 150,000 ADA. Will I make $1 million this season? 150,000 ADA. Let's see. Let's multiply that by $3. That takes you to $450,000. If let's just say we get $5, I still think there's a good chance we see 8, but if we were to break $5 by December, you're looking at around 750,000. So, you know, regardless, you're going to do well. Like, I mean, it's going to be life-changing money, right? If we hit $8, then yeah, you're going to do $1 million. You'll make $1 million bucks, but I don't know if we're going to hit $8 yet. To be quite honest with you, I mean, I think that even if we were to get like a top in like December, because my original contention was that Bitcoin peaks in December and then the altcoin market has its rally over like basically 60 days after that, with Cardano potentially peaking in February of 2026. That's still possible, regardless of what happens. But between now and December. But I definitely think a lot of the sideways, really boring price action, I think a lot of that's, I'm going to hazard a guess and say a lot of that could potentially be over. But, you know, we'll see. $5 to $8. Yeah, I mean, I've worked it up so many different ways. And listen, the problem with me doing videos live like this is that my mind goes in 20 different directions at the same time while I'm trying to talk about one, and it's not easy because it's just like an explosion in my head, and then I start sweating, and I get like somehow eerily, like weirdly stressed. So as soon as I click off of this and I'm done, I'll have a dump. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like tired. I need to like chill for a minute. I have to like recollect myself. It's weird. And when I used to do like pre-recorded videos, I didn't have that because generally they're shorter, 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20. I've got a little thumbnail. I've like doing these live streams. I don't do any like the tags or any of that. It's just like whatever happens. The people that get the notification or that follow me regularly get the video. I don't play with the algorithm anymore. I don't even say like, please like and subscribe and all that, because it is such a pet peeve for me. I'm so sick of seeing it when I watch a YouTube video. I really wish YouTube had the sense to like do something because YouTube's always acting like everything they do is all about like good content, right? We want the best content, blah, blah, blah. If you want the best content, do something to stop everybody from begging their viewers to like and subscribe. How about that? Because I'm personally sick of seeing it. Sometimes if I'm watching somebody new and they go on for like 3 minutes about how they want me to like and subscribe, I'm done. I'm done. Like, I get it. Like everybody that watches YouTube knows now that if you're not liking the video, then you probably hate the person you're watching. That's all it boils down to. And like people that like a video are saying, I like this. I think other people will enjoy it. YouTube, give them a boost because other people should watch it. And if you're not doing that, everybody knows what it all means. Like to beg for that, like right now, like and subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. I don't like do whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm personally so tired of seeing everybody do it. Because it just kills everything for me. Because it's like, what? I can't stand it. And if YouTube was really all about like the great content, then I feel like they would do something to facilitate that changing, because it's kind of annoying. So anyway, I'm scrolling down. I see a lot of comments. I see a fight with a bot that I deleted. In a bear market, ADA goes back to 3 cents where it belongs. You're stupid. It didn't happen this last bear market. The bottom was like 23 cents I think it was somewhere around 23, 25 cents. Yeah, like that's funny. You're obviously new. That's okay. ADA's up 153% year over year. Yeah, I mean, it's just continuing to grow and grow and grow, and it's all good. Crow, where do you see ADA go this cycle? I've already explained that 3 times. Did you just show up? You said that at 11:53. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to say this one more time for all the new people that just showed up, because I know there's like 1,000 of you now across the streams. I really think Cardano breaks $2 this month, likely breaks its all-time high in Crowvember, and then hopefully we can see $5 in December. But the other side of that, and we'll see, we're probably going to get some corrections in the midst of that as well. And holy shit. Here, you guys can look at this too. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it very clearly. Hold on. Let me remove that. I mean, Cardano's pumping right now, folks. Like, it's literally pumping live. So, I mean, these are just vector candles through and through. It's trying to just charged through 87 cents. This is getting crazy. But yeah, look at that. This is all happening just in the time I've been live. These are 15-minute candles here. So since I went live, Cardano's pumped, like 2-3 cents, and it looks like it wants to reach this high of the week. It really does seem to want to do that. So we'll see. But first, it's got to break through the high of the day, which is here at 87 cents. That was established yesterday. So breakthrough high of the day, then we start touching on high of the week, and then we might get a bit of a correction. We'll see. But it's definitely trying to chew up this. It's chewing through this. And when you have these big vector candles, these are like high volume candles, man. And notice how right before this, we got this blood diamond that pushed the price down into a wick to trap these traders before it started taking off. That's the way the cookie crumbles, man. And rather than freak out, I actually added to my position. I added another like $5,000 to my position here. So it's interesting, but that's where we're going. And hopefully this continues to move on. I really want to see us break above $1. But first we've got to get through these pivotal points. High of the week at 88 cents. I want to break through that. I want to retest it. I want to turn that high of the week into support. And then we start heading into $1. And I think this time, once we break through $1, I think we stay there. I do think that there's a very good chance that we break $2 in Cardano by the end of this month. So we'll see. I'm going to keep everybody abreast of everything's going on. And hopefully we have a really good October and we can really start crashing through some new highs in Crowvember. My birthday's next month, folks. I'm getting older. When I started this YouTube channel, I didn't have any gray hair. I'm starting to turn into Santa Claus over here. Everything that happens in this market cycle is basically going to be like, for me, I'm like really trying for retirement. But I will say, I'll leave you with this. I've kind of decided that if this market cycle does go well, I'm not making any of the mistakes I made in the last market cycle at all. We're going to basically figure out where our forever home is going to be. I'm going to basically have like a full studio in there. I want to do different kinds of content, man. I want to do AI content. At some point, I want to do Tesla bot content. And I really want to do face-to-face interviews. That really does excite me. So I'm going to build a studio I'm going to have a studio in whatever the forever home is. Something like this, but better, kind of like what I had at the old house. And then I'm going to have like a thing for face-to-face interviews. And I'm going to just cover everything. So, and I'm going to open a game store so that I can play my nerd games and have my fun and paint my miniatures and just be my nerdy retired self. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Listen, just so you guys know, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, right, left. I really don't care. I never really have. The only thing I care about is how you treat me as an individual, regardless of what my opinions are. I will always offer you the same respect. I don't care if you think differently than me. I don't care if you live differently than me. We all have separate lives, different paths traveled. That's all okay. I love you anyway. I will debate, friends that are on the left. And I always try to have it's like sparring. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with this. To me, a political argument, a political debate is like sparring. I'm going to hit you as hard as you hit me. That's it. That's all there is to it. You want this to be light? We go light. We don't have to get crazy with it. You start trying to catch me, you might take a nap. I mean, that's it. And that's all. That's the way I look at it. And it's just like, that's the way I am across the board. I give people what you give me. And I always try to start by being welcoming, caring, compassionate. I'm a very compassionate person. I'm a very emotional person. I want nothing but love for everyone. I want us all to get along. And I really wish more people could share that sentiment and really make that a big part of their life, especially if you're in crypto. I think we're going to see 90 days of absolute craziness that's going to change the lives of all of us. And there's really not much to not be happy about outside of those trying to create unhappiness. And, those people are different. And I'm not really talking about them. I'm talking about all of us who can just agree to disagree in a cordial, fun manner. We're about to break 88 cents, by the way. I'm going to let you guys go so you can follow the charts and I can do the same. Overall, I just wish you all well, no matter who you are. I really do. Let's just all do well, damn it. Can we all just get along, have a good time, and just appreciate each other's differences for what they are? It just doesn't have to be the chaos everywhere. It really doesn't. But until next time, crow your coins. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.